One of the things that is dividing the right now is the administration's handling of the Epstein files.
Yeah.
And the massively redacted. I saw one document that was 100 pages that were all blacked out.
Yeah.
There is upset at TPUSA. There is upset in a lot of places that they're not complying. What do you know? What should we know?
So here's the frustration that I'm hearing from lawmakers, particularly on the Republican side. They want to sort of get over this, and they can't do it, particularly when the files come out and all of a sudden what is redacted is almost now a bigger story, a bigger narrative than what has actually come out, what developments that we've learned that are in the files. And I mean, the DOJ continues to say, we're following the law, we're complying with the law, we're releasing everything on a timely basis. But I mean, they got community noted twice on X saying, actually, the law says you have to release everything. Right?
And I've heard that there were documents that were put up and then taken down and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, like 16 of them, including some of the pictures of President Trump, actually. So it's not a good look. And even Republicans that are very much, you know, MAGA-esque are getting a little frustrated that the story is not going away because they think of the handling of how this is going.
Sabrina, why? Why? I've watched from pen to post. Susie Wiles in her famous or infamous, whatever you think, of Susie Wiles, where she's talking about Pam Bondi's mishandling of this, and that from pen to post, this has been a comedy of errors, at least in the communications part. What is the White House think about this? What are they going to do about this? What's up?
Well, I think that there's been a bit of a blame game, as you point out, with Susie Wiles blaming Attorney General Pam Bondi. But we've seen President Trump change his tune a few times on whether or not these files should be released. And the big question here is why this lack of transparency exists and what the political ramifications of that are, because you have had members of the president's own base demanding more transparency. And what's notable to me is that, you know, there was a Reuters poll out last month showing that just 44% of Republicans approved of the president's handling of this issue.
Yeah.
That is arguably one of the lowest set of marks that he's received for any issue. So it demonstrates why this matters politically. And I think in some ways, by not offering anything new here, by redacting a lot of this key information, we don't know much about why there isn't more about charging decisions by the Justice Department. We don't have access to FBI interviews with survivors, why Epstein was able to evade any serious federal crimes for many, many years. By not being more forthcoming, they're actually, what they've risked is inviting even more scrutiny and keeping this issue alive politically.
If you're going to do a dump on a Friday night, do the dump. Actually, don't just beg the question.
Sorry, can I add also? Sabrina brought up a point about the political effects of this. Susie Wiles said she doesn't think it impacts the base as much. They don't care. Who cares is the podcast manosphere. I just think she's underestimating how much that group influences the base. Right?
Never underestimate the manosphere. Okay, Stephanie, here's a question. For people